Hello, everyone. This is Holly Chantal, the president of the Land of Brand and your lead Mad Brand scientist. And today is the Land of Brand Laboratory, or as we call it, the LOBoratory for short. And if you've never joined us before, we meet every Wednesday, 12 o'clock Eastern, and we talk about different topics in your brand. Sometimes these topics comes from questions from you guys. Sometimes it's something that came up with clients or just ideas that I want to share with you. And they are basically different ways of thinking, different strategies, different things that you can be using in your business, because I am a firm believer that in order to consistently grow your coaching business, you need to experiment, reflect, and adjust. So if you're not bringing new ideas, new strategies into your business, you're going to stagnate. And you need to figure out what works for you, because there is no cookie cutter approach that's going to work for everyone. And this is a free community call. The replays are posted to the blog, usually 2 weeks after the call, along with an article. And I do welcome live questions. So if you go to the Q&A box or the chat as we're going along and you want to ask questions, I would be happy to answer them. Or add stuff too. Sometimes you guys have amazing insights and additions to the topic at hand. And today's topic is why successful coaches are not soloists. So everywhere you look in the industry, you see these leaders, the leaders in the coaching world, they all have these posses around them, these posses of collaborators and mentors and a team. And I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, and I was thinking about this last night. I can't think of anyone that's truly done it alone. By done it, I mean created a mega successful business. And that's because the key here is in the collaboration. So today we're going to talk about why you need collaborators, where you find them, how you build your very own posse, and what that's going to do for your business. Just checking. Okay, no questions. So it's not, you guys would have told me by now if you couldn't hear me. So let's go ahead and get started. So in high school, I was in the acapella choir. And no, it was nowhere near as cool as Pitch Perfect. And if you know anything about acapella, you know that it's a little bit more difficult than regular chorus or regular choir. And the reason is, what makes acapella is that there's no instruments. There's no piano that's guiding you with the notes. There's no point of reference other than the music that you're reading and those around you. And if you can't read music like me, then you really have to depend on those around you. Because unless you are just a very talented musician, it's going to be very difficult for you to stand alone on your own and sing the correct tune, to carry the correct notes and to not be sharp or flat. There's just so many different nuances and ways that you can fall off track that make the song sound completely different. Trying to run your business alone is a lot like trying to sing an a cappella solo. You might be able to read music, so you might be able to read strategies, but unless you have an ear for it, unless you know exactly what the pitch is supposed to be, you're still going to fall off track. And on the other hand, you may have a great ear, but if you can't read the music, then you're going to fall off track. The easier way to do things is to harmonize with those around you, to use other people and other collaborators to help you stay the course, to help you stay on track and sing the most beautiful tune. Because working hard is alone. So when you're alone, when you're a soloist, you're having to figure everything out on your own. You don't know what you don't know, and you're kind of learning as you go. You might be taking a course here, you might be reading a book there, but even so, with all that information, you're still having to figure out how to bring it together by yourself. You have to make decisions on things that you are very close to. I was just having a conversation yesterday with someone, and we were talking about how when you're doing exercises around your target audience or your brand, and you're answering these questions like, why should I work with you instead of someone else? And what specialness are you bringing to the table? And those kind of like broad spectrum questions, you can answer them differently every single time. And the reason is because there's so many different facets to what you do and what makes you amazing. It's very hard for you to make decisions on what to spotlight and which ones you should be using and which ones you should be talking about because you're so close to them. But what I told this person was that usually, even with all of those other answers, all the different ways you could answer those questions, there's a common thread that goes between them, and they're all really the same answer. But you're just too close to see it. But someone else from an outside perspective, listening to you and interpreting it from a beginner mindset, can actually tell you exactly what you're saying in a much easier way. That's just one example of trying to make a decision that you're just too close to make and not being able to see things in your business that an outside perspective would find obvious. You also have to be confident that you're going in the right direction so that you can move forward. So you're going to consistently come up against these limiting beliefs and the questions and the confusion in your business about whether or not you're on the right track. Should I do this or should I do that? Does this sound clear? Why aren't my blog posts getting views? Why aren't people buying my program? There's so much going on that you have to figure out on your own and maintain confidence moving forward. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons that going alone is as hard as it is, because without the outside perspective and without people helping you to have confidence in yourself, it's really hard to maintain that motivation on your own. So the tendency is to be pseudo alone, like taking courses to find out how other people are doing things. So you might become a part of a group and do a course to learn those things that you don't know and to be able to ask questions. You might participate in Facebook groups where you can kind of be semi-anonymous. I mean, obviously Facebook isn't anonymous because they see your name in your face, but you're still anonymous because they don't actually know who you are or what it is you're really doing when you're asking a question unless they've gotten to know you, and that's a different type of relationship. That's where you have your collaborators. And another way to be pseudo alone is to live vicariously through others. So as you see them collaborating and creating partnerships, you just wish that that was you. So pseudo alone is maybe one step above being completely alone, but it's still not going to get you to where you want to be in your business. So wouldn't it be so much easier if you had your very own posse of collaborators? So what do I mean by a posse of collaborators? Well, there's different levels, and basically these are the people that you're going to surround yourself in your business to help you move forward in a much more effective and efficient way. So mentors that have gone before you and can help guide you with their wisdom, their experience, the things that you don't know yet that they've already been through. Mentors are fantastic because they see both ahead of where you are right now, and they can help you avoid pitfalls or give you new ideas. Peers that can hold you accountable and play alongside you. So there's so much to be said for having people around you that are in the same place you are, that are sharing the experiences as you are experiencing them, and that can be with you, hold you accountable, and maybe do nothing more than that. They don't necessarily need to be able to have the experience or wisdom in your industry area to be able to give you feedback. just be able to hold you accountable and empathize with you with what you're going through, and celebrate with you as well when you have successes. And then you have mastermind buddies, which are kind of like a peer, but they might be in different stages of their business. They might be in your industry or not in your industry, but these are the people that can help you brainstorm, and they act as a sounding board. So sometimes these people will act as mentors, but usually it's a give and take relationship. So a mentor is usually kind of a top-down relationship where you are listening to them and their wisdom, and a mastermind, sometimes you'll be listening to their wisdom and sometimes they will be listening to yours. So it's a give and take relationship, and where you are both guiding each other and both adding on to each other's ideas and poking holes in each other's ideas in some cases if you see something that the other person does not. And then last but not least, your posse could also consist of a team of people that are very expertly skilled in their area of expertise that you don't necessarily want or need to be. And these experts can be a virtual assistant, it can be your web developer, it can be a writer, whoever it is that you are outsourcing to take on the things that you don't necessarily need to be focusing on in your business because it doesn't require your creative power or your expertise, can be your posse. And they are going to help you be much more effective because they're better at those things than you are. So all of these people, and any combination of these people, can be your posse. So with your posse, you're still a solopreneur because you are in business for yourself. It's still your business, but now you have backup. You have people that are in your corner that are going to help you play a much bigger game. And in times of need, you have your posse to lean on. So, for example, if a question is coming up in your business, you're not sure if you should take a certain opportunity, or if you do take a certain opportunity, you're not sure, how best to leverage it. So let's say you're speaking at an event and you are trying to figure out what your topic's going to be. Might be simple for you to just pick a topic that you've done before, but perhaps the organizer wants you to do something different. Your mastermind buddies or your posse can help you see what you don't see, how maybe your topic really does fit what the organizer wants, or how you could creatively present it in a different way, because you are so used to doing things a certain way and you've fallen into certain patterns that sometimes you can't see other ways. You can't see what's very obvious to other people. So being able to lean on each other and being able to have a group of people or just one person that you can ask questions to and get feedback is so helpful, because it'll save you so much time and anguish and frustration trying to make those decisions on your own. And last but not least, your ideas are going to be 10 times more powerful because your posse is going to add on to them, make them better, and they're going to point out flaws for you to fix before you actually bring those ideas out into the world. So this is why collaboration is so, so powerful. So you might be wondering, where do you find collaborators? Chances are you probably already have some in your corner that you might not even quite realize yet are your posse. Sometimes formalizing those relationships, or at least, starting to think of them in a different way as being people that will fill these roles that we've talked about, the mentor, the mastermind buddy, the peer, the team. Starting to think about them in those roles and how you really might utilize their talents to move forward in your business much more quickly. But let's say you don't. Let's say you're starting from ground zero. One way to find your posse is to be at conferences and live workshops networking. And we're going to talk about, what if you are a shy introvert in a moment, because, the word networking gives me hives, because that's totally me. And yet I have made really good partners at conferences and live workshops, even though I'm pretty shy and introverted. So networking at conferences and live workshops, those people you sit with at lunch, those people you sit next to during sessions, start talking to them. If you see someone that is, going to a lot of the same sessions you are, go talk to them. People are at these conferences and live workshops to meet other people. So it's not like you're going to surprise them or scare them by approaching them. So these are a great place to find people, because though the attendees are already looking for someone like you to become a part of their posse. Another way is to participate in courses or training with admired mentors. So sometimes just showing up is a great way to meet your posse. If there's someone that you want to become you want to become your mentor, sign up for a course with them. Be active. Let them see your name over and over again. I have friends that are, have done this, went through B school, and now they're friends with Marie Forleo and doing, JV promos with her. I myself, went through, this was a million years ago, went through training with Michael Port, and we became friends and collaborators. This is a great way for you to really get to know the greats without, doing cold direct outreach, which they might not be as responsive to, because they get a lot of that. So finding opportunities to be close to the people that you want to get to know, even if you have to pay for it, is usually worth it. And the other thing is that those people attract amazing collaborators to them. So the people you're going to meet in these trainings or at these events are also going to be they could become really good friends and mentors. Some of my best friends come and mastermind buddies, people I've been masterminding with for the last 8 years, are from trainings that I went to 8 years ago and had an opportunity to really get to know them. And last but not least, direct outreach. This is probably the most uncomfortable, but it really only takes like 10 seconds of courage to do direct outreach. If there's someone that you want to meet, someone that you think would be a really good part of your posse, reach out to them. You can talk to them on Facebook. You could friend them on Facebook and just start commenting on their posts, or reaching out to them in other ways, just for them to get to know you and start recognizing your name. Or you might reach out to them through email. What I've done in the past is looked at people that who are on the same telesummits that I am, who are doing the same giveaways that I am. These people have probably seen my name a few times, and chances are, if the organizer liked both of us and I like the organizer, then these people are probably going to be good parts of my posse. And I'll reach out to them and say, we're both participating. We've both been in a few telesummits together. Why don't we set up a time to talk? I can't believe we haven't met before. And usually they have also seen my name as well and are interested in talking. It's a great, direct outreach is super uncomfortable, but it's not hard. And it just takes 10 seconds of courage for you to hit send. It might take you a few hours to draft the email. From experience, I can tell you that. But it only takes a couple seconds of courage to hit send and see what happens. So finding collaborators is not hard. It's really just about being intentional and finding the avenues where they're hanging out. So what if you're shy? What if you're like, everything I'm saying is literally making you break out in hives, or like get all the butterflies in your stomach? I hear you. And I've found some ways over the last 8 years that I've been in business to mitigate the shyness, to still do this even though I'm really not comfortable doing I'm not super comfortable in large groups unless I'm speaking. I'm fine if I'm speaking, but in a group, I'm kind of quiet. I don't really say much. I kind of watch what's going on, and that makes it very hard to make friends. So what I have found is that showing up consistently will allow you to get to know people slowly. Most times I hear people say, I'm really shy at first, but then once I get to know people, I begin to open up. You can do that in these same instances. Start going to the same networking events over and over again. Start going to conferences that are run by, certain people that are collaborating with each other. The same followers are going to go to those same conferences. You'll begin to see them over and over again. Being in Facebook groups, showing up consistently, people will begin to see your name. It's all about consistency, and you don't have to be the loudest person in the room for people to notice you. All you have to do is show up consistently, and they will begin to recognize your name and your face. The other thing is to recognize opportunities when they come. So be bold and say yes to things. Just to give you an example, my best friend and now super collaborator, like we are mastermind buddies, all of my clients go through an intuitive session with her. Sue Geyer, you guys have probably heard of her because I talk about her a lot. Like we met in 2009 at my coach training, and then I saw her speaking at an event that I was at, and we just started talking, and she's like, so what are you doing tonight? I said, I'm driving back to Philadelphia. It's like a 6-hour drive. And she goes, oh, I actually am from near Philadelphia. How about I just skip my plane ride and ride home with you? So that, because she was worried about me driving back that late at night. It was like the best opportunity ever. And I could have said no because I was extremely shy and a little bit intimidated by having this woman that was obviously a very accomplished speaker. And I respected her a lot, and I was, just little old me. And we rode together, and that formed a really strong friendship that has been going for the last 8 years. She's like a surrogate aunt to my kids. Recognizing those opportunities when they come and saying yes, even if they intimidate you or make you uncomfortable. And then when it comes to the direct outreach, like I said, be bold and have courage for just 10 seconds. Hit the send button, go curl up in a ball if you have to, but sometimes it just takes the stepping out of your comfort zone and doing it if you know it's the right thing to do. And then last but not least, this is just kind of a side note, and a lot of people say this, what you talk about, what you relate to people on, even though this is for business, most of the time what you relate to each other on is not always going to be business. So this was a particular challenge for me, and I'm assuming that if that was a challenge for me, it's probably been a challenge for others, that when I first started, my business was everything. I really didn't have a whole lot of other interests to relate to people on. Now that I'm older and I'm not like fresh out of school where everyone else, like when I started my business, I was 24 and everyone I was talking to were in their like late 30s, early 40s. It's a big difference between what you're experiencing in your life. So now that I'm married and I have kids and I've my business is established, so it's no longer like consuming my entire being. Now I can relate to other people, and I see what other people were saying when they said, try to find things you have in common. Try to relate to things outside of business. I used to not be able to understand that. So I'm telling you, if you're experiencing that, eventually you will be able to. But try to find other things that you have in common with people, whether it be where you used to live, or maybe you have common interests like sports or hiking, or whatever it is that you do. Maybe you did before your business. Other people are going to be able to relate to that too. So try striking up a conversation around that, just to get to know each other. The key here is really to just get to know each other. See if there is any synergy between you. If there's not, that's fine. But if there is, then your relationship is going to grow naturally. And you don't need many of these collaborators. You might look out into the industry and you're looking at these industry leaders that I'm referencing, and they have a lot of people rallying around them. They have a lot of JV partners. They have a whole big team. They didn't start that way. They started with one, and then that grew to 2 and 3 and so on. So like I said before, you may already have people in your posse that you haven't even thought of as being your collaborators. And if you don't, start small and build relationships over time. Play the long game. Everything in your business is the long game. It's not something that, you know, you're going to have a quick fix for. But just knowing that this is going to be a really important part of your success is going to help you. So it's time for you to stop singing solo and begin to harmonize with some awesome collaborators. So think about, who could you be collaborating with now that you might not already be? So people that you already know that might be opportunities to mastermind with, to be accountability buddies with, to be your mentors. And who don't you know yet? Who's out there that you've had your eye on? And don't underestimate the people that are at your same level. You know, a lot of times you see these posses and they're like, oh, they're all at 7 figures. They didn't start that way. They started off where you are. And then they grew together. By supporting each other, they helped each other grow. The people that I knew 8 years ago that I am friends with now, we're all at a whole other level in our business. And it might look like we're just friends because we're all at that same level, but it's all because we started at the same place and grew together. So the same will go for you, and the same goes for all those people that you're looking at and maybe feeling a little jealous of. So in summary, going alone is tough. It's a lot harder than it needs to be. And with collaborators, you're going to be much more effective. Collaboration is not just about being super social. You can do this even if you're shy and introverted. It's all about building relationships, which might sound like a foreign language sometimes. But if you show up consistently and, you know, literally that's the key, just show up consistently and be seen, you'll begin to build these relationships naturally. And if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, then go with a group. So you might be able to get things done faster if you're doing it alone, but if you have a team working with you, you have collaborators and mastermind people that you can be bouncing ideas off of and getting feedback before you execute something. Takes a little bit longer to get all of that together, but you're going to have such a much bigger effect. It's worth spending the extra time. So I don't see any questions on the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I hope you've enjoyed today's topic. We're going to meet again on August 23rd at 12 o'clock Eastern. And we're going to talk about the #1 productivity killers for coaches and entrepreneurs. And it is not Facebook. So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.